I never imagined I'd find myself at the heart of neighborhood controversy. Yet, there I was, watching a tow truck haul away a pristine white Lexus SUV. Its owner, Karen Mitchell, the vice president of our HOA, was storming across the condo parking lot, her designer handbag swinging wildly as she gestured furiously. Then she spotted me on my balcony. "You," she shrieked, pointing directly at me with a perfectly manicured finger. "You did this. You called them." Her face was contorted with such fury that several neighbors peeked out their windows. I remained calm, observing the scene unfold. Karen was now on her phone, and within minutes, a police cruiser pulled into our complex. Great. This was escalating quickly. Karen immediately rushed to the officers, talking rapidly and pointing in my direction. I sighed and headed downstairs. This was going to be interesting. He deliberately had my car towed. Karen was telling the officers as I approached. He set me up. I'm on the HOA board, and he's been causing problems for months. Officer Reynolds, whose name badge I could now read, looked at me with a neutral expression. "Sir, we're responding to a call about vehicle theft and harassment." "That's not what happened," I replied calmly. Ms. Mitchell parked in my assigned spot. I asked her to move it. She refused. So I followed HOA protocol and called the approved towing company. Karen cut in, "He's lying. I would never park in someone else's spot. I know the rules better than anyone." I gestured toward the security camera mounted on the lamppost. "The complex has cameras covering the parking lot. Maybe we should check the footage." Karen's face twitched, almost imperceptibly. That's when I knew there was more to this story than a simple parking dispute. I've lived in Oakwood condominiums for 3 years. It's a nice place, well-maintained grounds, reasonable monthly fees, and each unit has one assigned parking space marked with a unit number. Mine is number 23, conveniently located near the stairwell to my second-floor condo. In a complex where good parking is coveted, I was lucky to get such a prime spot. Karen Mitchell moved in about a year ago and quickly secured a position on the HOA board. Within months, she was vice president and making her presence known. She regularly patrolled the property, clipboard in hand, documenting violations and leaving warning notices. Her silver blonde bob and perpetual frown became symbols of dread around Oakwood. "Miss a weed in your small garden patch?" Karen noticed. "Package left at your door for more than 6 hours?" Karen documented it. "Guests parked slightly over the line in visitor parking?" Karen had them towed. "Rules exist for a reason," she'd say at every HOA meeting, "and I'm here to make sure everyone follows them." The irony of the situation wasn't lost on me. After a long day at work, I had pulled into the complex around 7 p.m., only to find a white Lexus SUV parked in my spot. My spot, number 23, and clearly marked with bright yellow paint. I circled the parking lot twice, but all guest spots were taken, and every other resident space was occupied or clearly marked as belonging to someone else. I recognized Karen's car immediately. The personalized license plate reading CRISLW was unmistakable. Despite her obsession with rules, she had apparently decided they didn't apply to her. I parked temporarily in the fire lane and walked to her unit on the first floor. When I knocked on her door, I was determined to be civil. Karen opened it, wearing an expensive-looking silk blouse and pearls, despite it being evening at home. "Karen, your car is in my assigned parking space," I said politely. "Would you mind moving it? I need to park my car." She looked at me as if I'd asked her to donate a kidney. "I'm hosting my book club tonight. All the guest spots are taken, and I needed somewhere to put my car temporarily." "I understand, but that's my assigned spot, and I need to park too," I explained. "I'm on the board," she said dismissively. "It's just for one night. Park on the street." Then she actually closed the door in my face. I stood there, momentarily stunned. The street parking was 2 blocks away and required a special permit I didn't have. I'd likely get a ticket. Plus, why should I park elsewhere when I had a designated spot that I paid for in my HOA fees? I knocked again, more firmly this time. Karen opened the door with an exasperated expression. "Look," I said, maintaining my composure, "the HOA rules that you enforce so diligently state that unauthorized vehicles in assigned spots can be towed at the owner's expense. I'd rather not do that, but I need my parking space." "Are you threatening me?" she asked, her voice rising. "Do you know who I am?" "I'm not threatening you, Karen. I'm simply asking you to follow the same rules you enforce on everyone else." The door slammed in my face again. I returned to my car, still in the fire lane, and weighed my options. I could park illegally on the street and risk a ticket, or I could follow the proper procedure for unauthorized parking in assigned spots. With a sigh, I pulled out my phone and called the HOA-approved towing company listed on the sign at the entrance to our complex. "Rapid Response Towing," a gruff voice answered. "Hi, I need to report an unauthorized vehicle in my assigned parking space at Oakwood Condominiums," I explained, giving them my unit number and name. "We'll be there in about 10 minutes, the dispatcher said. True to their word, the tow truck arrived shortly after. I showed the driver my ID and proof of residence, confirming that space 23 was indeed assigned to me. He nodded and got to work hooking up Karen's Lexus. I finally parked in my rightful spot and headed upstairs to my condo, mentally preparing for the fallout I knew would come. It didn't take long. About 30 minutes later, there was a thunderous pounding on my door that nearly rattled it off its hinges. I opened it to find Karen, her face flushed with anger, and several confused-looking women in nice outfits, presumably her book club, standing behind her. "You had my car towed," she screamed, not even attempting to control her volume. "How dare you? Do you have any idea how much that's going to cost me?" "I asked you to move your car, and you refused," I replied calmly. "I followed HOA procedure for unauthorized parking." "I am the HOA," she shouted, stepping closer to me. "You had no right. No right at all." Neighbors were beginning to peek out their doors at the commotion. Karen was creating quite the spectacle in the hallway. "Actually, according to the bylaws that you've quoted to others many times, I had every right," I said. "Your car was in my assigned space without permission." "You'll regret this," she hissed, pulling out her phone. "I'm calling the police. You've stolen my property." "Karen, having an unauthorized vehicle towed from a private parking space isn't theft, but go ahead and call them if you want." She did exactly that, dramatically reporting that I had arranged to have her vehicle stolen and that I was now threatening and harassing her. Her book club looked increasingly uncomfortable as they witnessed their host's meltdown. When Officers Reynolds and Diaz arrived, Karen immediately launched into her version of events, painting herself as the victim of a vindictive neighbor who had targeted her because of her position on the HOA board. If you love watching HOA bullies get a taste of their own rules, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This isn't the last neighborhood showdown you'll see. And trust me, you won't want to miss what Karen does next. Like, comment, and turn on notifications because justice sometimes comes with a tow.